Hey there, my name is Brashler, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to deal with electronic drums in your mix. If you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident in your production gear, no matter where you're starting from. Now, if you are also on a journey of becoming a better audio engineer, I have a weekly newsletter that takes a few minutes to read over at audiotoolkit.co. Now, I go through a whole bunch of things from just mixing secrets to different tips on audio consoles. So go check that out and subscribe today and join 17,000 other people that are receiving this email weekly. Let's go ahead and actually dive into this video today. Now, I have a set of tracks here. I have electronic drums on, and it's not my favorite sound with electronic drums. There's very big differences between cheap electronic drum heads and expensive ones. And so when you're mixing with electronic drums, you're limited to the drum unit or the drum head that has the outputs. Some drum units are just going to have a left and a right. And if that's the case, you just need to listen to the overall drums in your room and decide if you want to have a little bit more bass or less mids or more highs in the frequency spectrum of those drums. There's not really much you can do with them. Now, on the drum unit, you can always go and select different sounding drums. So make a day to work with your drummer and go find the best sounding drum settings on that head unit. And then at that point, then come over to your mixer and start adjusting things. Now, the best solution when you're using electronic drums is to use the multi-out. If it has multiple outputs out of the drum unit, then you want to use the multiple drum outputs. So for instance, this one had a kick, a snare, a stereo toms, left and right, a hi-hat, a ride, and then a stereo cymbals. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get some time to work with this drummer to find the best sounding drum sounds on his drum unit, but this is what we have, and this is what we have to work with. So let's go ahead and give this a listen. Okay, so I can tell you already that I really don't like the sound of the snare, and the toms sound awful. But again, this is what we have to work with. Now, let's go ahead and listen in on the snare just first and see if we can get a little bit better sound to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first grab from my EQ, and I'm going to activate this. And I'm wanting to get a little bit more low end, but we can see that there's nothing down here. I mean, there's nothing. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to boost the tone of this drum, and unfortunately, this drum sound doesn't have any of that. So I'm having to do some really drastic EQ to try and get any sort of tone out of this thing. There's before. There's after. This just sounds awful. It's like all of that sound So the next thing that I'm going to do is reach for my compressor. So I'm going to start with a ratio of 5:1, and I'm going to set this to a hard knee. And my attack time, I'm actually going to leave at 0 real quick, set my hold time to 0, and my release about 200 milliseconds. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is make sure that my auto envelope is off. And at this point, I can go ahead and activate this, and I am going to really slam this down to try and listen to the attack and release timings that I'm setting here. Perfect. There we go. So here it is before the compressor. Here it is after. Just gets a little bit more body to it. Now another thing that we could do is on the Behringer wing, there is our dynamic EQ, and we could go and add low end every time something happens. And so we can go reach for our gain and turn this up and set this frequency down to where the body of that snare is, so about 150. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our threshold and turn this down. And we can go ahead and tighten this up. Okay, so here it is without. Here's with. That's too much. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to this without any of this processing. So that's what we started with. Wait for the audio to come back in here again. Here we go. So this is what we started with. Just giving you a little bit more body. Now, if we wanted to add a little bit more sizzle, we could go ahead and take one of our high bands and add some in the 6 to 10K area, just to give it a little bit more sizzle to that snare. Okay, let's go ahead and start working on the kick here. All right, so here is the kick drum. Gonna add a little bit of gain to this to get it up a little bit more. Okay, so here is the kick drum. And it just doesn't sound good. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some EQ. Now I'm also going to add a low cut. So here's my low cut, and we'll go back. Now, this frequency sounds awful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out. And then I'm going to have to boost a little bit more in my low end to compensate. Okay, now, I'm also going to duck down some of this like 300 hertz. And then the attack of this is right here. Right there, that's where the attack is. So I'm going to just tighten this up a little bit. And let's go ahead and add in a compressor on this guy. So turn our auto envelope off, set this to a ratio of 5:1, and we will set our attack time about 30 and our release about 110. And let's go ahead and overemphasize this. It's not doing much here. So here is our kick without these. And here it is with. And here's our kick and snare. So with the kick drum, what you're really trying to do is get a little bit more low end out of that for your room. And it's just going to be a case-by-case basis. There's not much I can do with this because there's literally only information right here and right here on this kick drum. That's it. So let's go ahead and move to the toms. And let me open up a section on here that has some toms. All right, so I'm gonna turn on my EQ. And this frequency, I'm just gonna cut out right away. Okay, and we can go ahead and add in some low end here. I'm hating these because there's almost a sound of a snare in these, and it just does not sound good. Let's go ahead and change this to a parametric. That's the most fake attack I've ever heard. Okay. We can also add in a little bit of compression to try and give a little bit more oomph out of this. So 5 to 1, go ahead and take this all the way down. Back the attack off until it starts sounding a little bit more normal. There we go. Okay, so here are these, and actually what I'm going to do is there's a little bit of low end in the 60 hertz that just kind of rumbles a bit. So I'm just going to add in a low cut and get rid of some of that. There we go. All right, so here is without EQ. And here is with EQ and compression. Okay. Now these overheads only have the cymbals. They don't have the ride or the hi-hat. So here is the hi-hat, and we heard the rides, and we heard the crashes there. Okay, so here is all the frequency of the hi-hat. And so what we can do with this hi-hat is we can just go solo up and get rid of some of the sibilance that just does not sound great on this thing. Right in here. Okay, go to our crashes. There's not much we can do there. All right. So we've taken these drums from really not sounding good at all to this. So again, I'll just go ahead and turn off my processing here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save a snapshot here. No processing. Okay. And then I'm going to go and add in my processing again. There we go. Okay. And so we can go to my library and I can save as processing. Okay. So here is this section with nothing. Okay, and here it is with. So we have increased the volume of these drums, which makes them sound a little bit better, but there's a lot more tone to this. I mean, this snare is just no tone at all. And then if we go ahead and add in the rest of the band here. So we're not always able to choose the instruments that are up on the stage when we're mixing. When we stand behind the console, we are at the mercy to the band that's up on the stage. So when you are faced with an electronic drum set, again, try to get as many individual sources as you can. Some drum heads allow you to have a kick, a snare, each of the toms, and a hi-hat, a ride, and maybe the cymbals. And this particular one gave me the kick, the snare, a tom group, left, right, hi-hat, ride, and the overheads, which was cymbals in a left, right. Now, if you're able to work with that drummer and get the sounds to suit the room and the music type, then spending that time is definitely going to be one of the best things that you can do before you even touch an EQ on your board. Now, you'll notice some of the things that I'm doing to these is not the same that I would be doing to a microphone. For instance, on the overheads, I would definitely be adding a low cut and really tailoring that microphone to suit the music. But in this case, this overhead has already been pre-recorded and manufactured for this drum unit. So some of these I'm just going to leave completely open like this. Now, if you are running a drum head and you only have the left and the right output, or in the worst case, you only have a mono out, just treat that as a group. Think of that drum sound as a group. Do you need more low end? Do you need less mids? Do you need some more high end? What do you need to make that drum group or that mono channel of drums sound correct in your room, and then just go start doing it. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you do happen to have any questions, or if there's a video that you're hoping that I would make, please post that in the comments section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.